Hey guys, this is Crypto with James talking to you today about energy tokens. There is a very good reason for this. Not the most exciting stuff, but I assure you there's a good reason. I'll get into that in a second. As always, I update the spreadsheet. These are the first 26 coins I spoke about on the channel. I thought we'd smash it in this cycle. Um, if you'd invested $100 into each one when I release the videos and you're still holding your bag, you'd be in profit for 82,200. Add in the 2,600 that you invested, so you'd be sitting on 84,800 bucks. I've held them all and I've closed positions on them all in profit, just not green, and reinvested that into new cryptos. If you want to see what I'm in, you can check out Copy My Crypto. It's where I share the portfolio that I'm in, the coins that I hold are outperforming the market massively. The gains have been very, very, very nice, and there's some real opportunities for short-term flips. But fundamentally, guys, the bull cycle should be good for you, should be good for all of us, but bank profits along the way, for Christ's sake. And if you do, excellent. But the bear cycle is where you make your retirement investments. Make no mistake about it. Yeah, you'll catch trends in a bull cycle, great, great, great. But during a bear cycle, you will be able to sit, take the time, learn about coins, and find those coins that are hugely undervalued. That is literally all I do during a bear cycle. I just sit and read through thousands of cryptos and find the ones hugely undervalued with immense potential that can do those 40, 50, 100x's. So if you want to learn about them when the bear cycle inevitably comes, because it will come, then you can check out Copy My Crypto. Right, energy tokens. Guys, energy tokens are going to be huge. Not this bull cycle. Let me clarify, not this bull cycle. They don't have enough momentum or juice right now to run too well. You're not going to make 100x, you're not going to make 50x on any of these right now in this present bull cycle. But there is certainly immense potential here. And you've got to bear in mind on the political sphere that we're in at the moment and the things that are happening in the world right now. So look, at the moment it's COP26, right? So this is a climate summit between all these nations, okay? And we're talking about the need for climate for efforts to be made to fix the climate. And there are legitimately serious problems within the world right now. You know, water is a problem. We've got soil around the world that is dying, right? We've got maybe 61 harvests, they estimate, left, which should be done by like basically by 2080. The ground will not be worthwhile to farm on. That is actually a legitimate situation. Everyone agrees on that. So there are elements of all this that need to be addressed, and countries around the world are trying to draft agreements about the efforts to be made to address all of these things. You've also got a US-China deal on emissions. And to be fair, China have been doing a lot in terms of trying to quash their emissions, because make no mistake about it, China has more than every other developed country combined. Now, in the past year, you've seen them close down Bitcoin mining in their region. Now, maybe that was to some degree to do with the efforts to reduce emissions. Maybe it was just, part and parcel of their unusual relationship with crypto. But these negotiations are calling for for all these countries to make efforts into tackling deforestation, tackling, the damage that's been occurred to the oceans, the damage that's been occurred worldwide, right? In almost every aspect. And there's evidence, like, fundamentally, guys, I agree and disagree with elements of the whole climate change debate. But one thing that I unequivocally don't doubt is that investments And companies in particular are going to be far more focused on saving the world over the coming decade, right? Because if you're the company that develops the tech that saves the world, what does that do to your stock prices? Right? I'm not. There is self-interest, but it is what it is. But one thing that will increase over time, solar power inevitably is going to be far bigger 5 years down the line than it is now. Wind power, wind farms, 5 years down the line will be far more powerful, far more prevalent than it is now. In the UK, you can barely convince anyone to be prepared to use wind farms. They don't want to see it. It ruins the countryside, right? But in Germany, I think 90% of the country is fueled by the power from wind farms. So how these countries proceed is going to have an impact upon and these agreements that they make, whether they stick to them or whatever. There is going to be a shift in focus for major companies as well, in terms of how they want to appear. And if they want to appear as saviors, they will perceive that as doing one thing for the stock prices, which is rising. At the same token, there's going to be elements of this within crypto. Make no mistake about it, right now we see 17 tokens that are based in and around energy. I bet that by the next bull cycle there will be 100 of these, minimum. This will grow exponentially. And keeping your eye on these tokens is worthwhile because these will retrace hard, very hard in the bear cycle. But with that shift in narrative, with that wider focus on improving energy sources, these will have a potential to run so much more in the next cycle than they do in this one. So the level in which they retrace matters. Because fundamentally right now, Energy Web Token for sure leads the way by a good margin. Then it's Power Ledger, then eForce, then Grid, right? But even, to be honest, even when you drop down to Grid and below, you know, these could not be here in a year. Energy Web, Power Ledger, and eForce, I don't necessarily see going anywhere. Energy Web Token will retrace, for sure, dramatically. As will everything. But have your minds. This is not financial advice. This is me talking and looking at the state of how things are moving. And the shift in perspective from world leaders comes from the shift in perspective of companies. And when we start seeing that, we start seeing a bigger shift in the general consensus of the population worldwide. And all of a sudden, this becomes a massive growth sector. And while I don't think any of these are going to do much this cycle at all, you know, you might see a double here or there. You know, the low cappers might do something special. I mean, you can see Ethereum. I don't know anything about Ethereum, but it's up 850%, 4% today, apparently. And some of the low cappers might do something. But during the bear cycle, this is a sector that we will see grow. We'll see far more focus on innovations within energy, whether it's trading peer-to-peer energy, trading your excess peer-to-peer energy. You know, in Australia, you can trade water supplies. You've got everyone has a level of water supply, and if you're underusing it, you can offer it out someone could pay for yours. There's lots of room for development in this sector. And it is one that really interests me because it's so unexposed. And the unexposed sectors are the really interesting ones because you catch the right coin. My God, can they run? Right now, of them, Energy Web and Power Ledger are the two I would have on my radar for the bear cycle because they're leading the way right now. But this could be a really interesting one. And the narrative around the world is what you've got to bear in mind. And I don't mean just about energy or climate or whatever, right? If you're seeing a shift in the population's thought processes about anything, that means there's a change coming. Or there's going to be an area, or there's going to be a sector that can grow. In the last year or so, we've seen this COVID shite that's actually had huge impacts on education. A lot of education has been done remotely, particularly in the UK for a long time. And right there, if the shift in perspective, as an example, I don't think there necessarily will be, but education can effectively be done remotely. We've seen it, and it worked well for some people, not well for others that couldn't get good Wi-Fi and stuff. But when you're noticing that there's something that can work, then you've got to see if that can be applied to growth. And for me, like I said, Energy Web, Power Ledger, two very, very interesting ones I very much have on my radar during the bear cycle, because this COP26 stuff will go on for a little bit longer, but then there'll be agreements, and then they won't be met because governments fail in meeting the agreements that they make. And there might be elements of it swept under the rug, but the narrative here will continue because they still will continue to meet about emissions, about climate, about water, about agriculture. And over the next 4 or 5 years, all I can see is that there's a far bigger push for efficient energy, and therein lies a diamond in the rough. So, yeah, just my 2 cents, just talking to you guys, to be honest, today. Yeah, that's it. Anyway, and if you're new to crypto, check out Copy My Crypto. Like I said, it's where I share my portfolio, the one that's absolutely crushing it and outperform the market week in, week out. But bear in mind, this cycle isn't going to last forever. It will get bearish. It will get into a bear cycle, whether it's March or sooner. But there's going to be some stupidly good opportunities for investments during the bear cycle. In the bear cycle, all I'm going to do is be sharing all those coins that I think could really run wild, like the phantom call I made. And I'll be sharing it with a couple of my crypto members. So if you want to be a part of it, you can check it out. Anyway, take care.